there isn't a single LLM that exists that can take a politician out to a beer and get them to say something they shouldn't be saying.
My guest today started her career on stage as a professional opera singer. She's now Field CTO at HashiCorp. You are an author. You've been a TEDx speaker.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're one of my personal favorites in terms of voices in the industry.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of experience in engineering leadership, but how you got there is insane and really cool. So welcome on the show, Anna. It's great to have you.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here.
I am a recruiter. This think,
Yes,
right?
I know this.
Okay.
Yes.
And I have some candidates that no, I'm just kidding.
Let me just set them
Let
up
me
for
just
you.
so I brought CVs with me today. And,
Great. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe as an introduction,
Sure.
you started your career as an opera singer.
Not
No.
technically. Not technically.
Okay.
I started my career, so I graduated from my degree, it was actually in media studies and journalism. So I actually started my career in project management for a company that did conferencing, like business conferences for the mining sector, specifically in mining engineering topics, as it so happens.
Oh.
And then I moved into marketing for Opera Australia. So I did marketing for the company that puts the operas on at the Sydney Opera House.
And you had no singing,
At that point, I'd done some singing lessons as a kid.
Okay.
My brother is a classical musician, so I'd been exposed to classical music and to opera from a young age. But I wouldn't say I was like a massive fan. I knew a few of the big hits, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But no, I worked there for about 2 years. And during that time, I started taking singing lessons with one of the sopranos at the opera company. And she was the one who said, like, you can keep doing this as a hobby if you want to, but I think you've got a voice and I think you could do it as a profession if you wanted to. And from there, I ended up auditioning and getting into the Sydney Conservatorium of Music.
That's
and I did
wild.
My master's degree at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music in opera performance, and then moved to Germany and had a career as an opera singer. Yes.
That's crazy. So people train like their whole lives to become like, and you were just, and how long was this
Master's degree? Or the
space of time where you were like started singing lessons
right.
to performing?
Well, it's hard to say exactly because like when you're doing singing lessons, you're sometimes like, I was doing, for example, amateur musical productions and things like Gilbert and Sullivan. It's kind of like opera-ish. It's not quite, but it wasn't professional. So I was performing even while I was
Like beta opera?
learning it. Yeah. We call it pro-am in Sydney anyway. So professional amateur. So it's like, it's amateur production, but you put it on like your professionals. You get like, you don't get paid for it, but you're trying to make money for the little company and but yeah, so I would say from the time I started taking lessons to performing was a year doing pro-am stuff. And then it was probably another half a year until I was actually doing the masters. During the masters, of course, you do a lot of performances as part of your studies, including one of my favorite roles of all time, which is doing the role of Jo from Little Women, which was amazing. There's a great opera version of that. There are clips on YouTube, by the way. And
obviously.
And then and then I sang for Opera Australia, the company I was doing marketing for. I sang for them. I sang a kids version of Cinderella. I was Cinderella.
Amazing. Okay.
And a blue dress and everything. And
did you have glass slippers?
well, that was a little bit hard to coordinate. So I just had like
Plastic.
normal slippers.
Oh.
Yeah. But actually I was mostly barefoot, to be honest, because I was like sweeping a lot.
Oh.
You know,
That's Cinderella.
I had to learn how to sweep because I was not a very good sweeper.
Really?
Yeah. My first rehearsal, they were like, okay, now you sweep here. And I started doing it. And they're like,
All right.
okay, let me show you how to sweep.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, gosh, this is a shame. It's a shame. I did not know how to sweep. And then I moved to Germany and I sang mostly with the Hessen State Theatre then for 3 years. Mm-hmm. But I was also traveling internationally. I sang in the States. I sang in Prague. And when I went home to Australia to visit, I also sang a concert there. So, yeah.
Wild.
Got around.
You did. You did. I mean, and how long was that career?
Also, that was very German of me. 7 years total, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
crazy. 7 years. Now, fast forward, you're CTO at HashiCorp.
Yeah, Field CTO for
Field
HashiCorp.
CTO, yeah, Field CTO
Yeah,
of
that's
HashiCorp.
right.
We can leave out Field, right?
No, because they are actually different jobs. They are different jobs.
Oh, okay.
Field CTO is a really weird role. I had never heard of it before last year, so before actually applying. It's basically like a combination of being an actual CTO, but actually it's always working for a service provider or a software provider or something like this, a vendor of some sort. And so you're also brought in kind of partly for sales stuff, so to talk on the executive level.
Got you.
So we've got heaps of solutions engineers, for example, who are great at talking to the techies, but sometimes the people who need to actually sign off on everything happening, they need to also see the strategic vision. So it's not just about like budget sign off. It's also about like, okay, we can buy these tools, but then how do I actually roll these out to 10,000 engineers?
Yeah.
Like, how do I actually do that? And for that, they usually bring us in because we have significant experience with how to organize teams or how to implement things properly. We have experience from other clients where we've seen them do similar stuff. So we kind of are a strategic advisory kind of role while also being part of the strategic vision of HashiCorp internally. So, and IBM now as well, because IBM's now acquired HashiCorp. So it's a bit of both. It's like strategy, it's tech, it's people, it's a little bit of sales from time to time, and a lot of speaking on stage and talking to people like yourself and just kind of getting out there and explaining what we do and who we are and why we're passionate about our topics. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. And I'm sure this has happened to you a lot. So like, imagine... So I can imagine that you have had to explain what you do now
Yes.
to people in your circle. Like you mentioned before, your husband is also an opera singer.
Yes, he's now a classical singer if we want to be
classical
technical about
singer.
it, but yes.
We do absolutely want to be technical on this
Yes.
podcast.
Okay, good.
And your friends probably also very like
Mostly non-technical.
mostly non-technical. So like you have to explain what you do. How would you explain that?
I say the easiest way to think about it is that I'm an executive consultant. That's the easiest way to explain it to them. I'm like, you've got tech people, they want to do stuff with software, you know, they need help to know how to do stuff with our software. I come in and I help them do it. That's how I would explain it to a non-technical person.
What's your take on, so we work with one of the big four companies, and they told us a couple weeks ago that basically their entire so like everyone basically 1 year of experience up to 4 years of experience, probably in the next few years is going to be completely cut out by AI and just replaced. The consultants, yeah? So the strategic consultants, not the techies.
All right.
What do you think about that?
I think it depends what level you're talking on.
Yeah.
I think that on as you say, this 1 to 4 year zone, it's a tricky zone because in there is where you can still presumably use LLMs to give you a broad overview of what's actually happening and how people tend to do things. Because what LLMs are good at, of course, is taking a broad base of knowledge and essentially summarizing it, right?
Yeah.
So at that kind of level, okay, fine. Where LLMs and AI starts getting less reliable is the more what's the word I'm looking for? Extenuating circumstances you have. So like something's a little bit different. It's a different domain than most of them, or you've got a specific goal that your board has set for you. And at the same time, you've got like a weird mix of teams, or you've got a weird mix of skills that you need to work with, or you've got one specific project that you're not allowed to tell anyone about, and that has to be prioritized, but you can't draw attention to it. You know, I don't know. There are all sorts of weird things that happen inside companies, and the bigger they get, usually the weirder stuff gets, to be honest.
Yeah.
And once you start getting weird, the general nature of LLMs stops being as useful, in my opinion. So I think it depends on how broad you're looking, like how broad is the strategy that you're considering here. So on a team by team level, okay, yeah, might be helpful. Once you're talking about multiple teams, whole departments, multiple departments, then you start wanting people who can actually bring in experience from different companies, for example, that they can't talk about or that isn't public knowledge. And this is where I start seeing those senior consultant roles being more important. And it's also why I would probably personally say don't cut out too many people who are in that 1 to 4 year range, because they're building up that base of knowledge.
That was like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That was like my next question. Like what does the world look like then if this is also very generalized, very dramatic and everything, but like if there were no more entry roles.
No. I mean, this is the thing where I see, when I was working in media tech, there was a lot of conversation around like, what is the future of the media if there's AI, right? And one of the things I always came back to is there isn't a single LLM that exists that can take a politician out to a beer and get them to say something they shouldn't be saying.
100%.
Not one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I always come back to. So why do we prefer some people over things like LLMs? Well, it's because we want their specific experience. And one of the most common questions that I've been getting asked, I'm pretty new in my role, so I'm just starting out, but what I've been getting asked a lot of is, do you know how other companies in our domain are doing it? Or can you tell me about other clients you've got that have a similar setup? What are they doing? Like everyone kind of wants to know, are we ahead? Are we behind? Like where do we sit in the grand scheme of things?
Primitive, the very primitive need of a human to gossip.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like they want to know if they're falling behind.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of the people I'm talking to are like VPs, C-levels. They're often talking to the board, and they might not be saying to the board, we're behind, right? They probably don't.
Right.
But they need to know that. If they are behind, then they need to be aware of that fact. So a lot of the time it's this personal experience that they want to know about. And this is stuff that LLMs don't know about by simple fact that it's not public knowledge. This knowledge doesn't actually exist in any public space that an LLM could pull from. So, I think that human connection becomes more and more important in the age of AI as well. Like I said, the whole getting a beer with a politician thing. Well, I mean, it's the same thing in executive circles. It's not necessarily a beer. Maybe sometimes it is, but sometimes it's getting dinner. Sometimes it's having lunch. I have more interesting conversations outside of meeting rooms than I do inside of meeting rooms. And that's where I find out the real interesting stuff, like what's actually happening. And to me, that relationship building is more a core part of what I need to do and what gives me essentially my unique selling point in this sort of industry. Because, it's that old saying, your network is your net worth, but it really is. And I think more and more so as AI takes over the more kind of mundane information gathering kind of role, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah, for sure. So, your career essentially has been anything except for linear.
Yes.
And there's this idea about poaching that I really like. And basically what it does, or what it says, is that the human condition is based off of the fact of wherever you exist, you can just take things. So poaching, I think, is a pretty common knowledge what the word means, but basically it means, for anyone who doesn't know, you take wild game off of land that does not belong to you.
Yeah, like elephants and rhinos.
Yeah. And in German, the word...
For reference, I don't hunt elephants or rhinos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
Have you ever hunted?
No.
Okay, wow. I don't know.
Oh, no, I lie. I'm lying. When I was 7 years old, my uncle taught me to shoot an air rifle, and we tried to shoot rabbits in his farm.
And did you shoot a rabbit?
I did not. I couldn't even shoot
Did
the
you
tree
aim?
trunk.
Okay. Nice.
But technically speaking, I have been hunting.
Okay. I've never been hunting.
Well,
I've been to a bunch of shooting ranges, but
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So the idea of poaching essentially moves towards this thought that wherever you are, you take something from it.
Yeah.
Your career, poaching.
Yeah.
You've done that a lot.
I do. Have done. Yes.
Yeah. What was the first time you realized in tech that you're like, oh shit, that's like, I know this because of career XYZ. Mm-hmm. No one else here might have picked up on that.
Yeah. The one I get asked about the most is, of course, the operatic connection. But actually, the first thing that I realized, like the first time I realized I had a skill other people didn't have, was when I started as a junior engineer. I think I was 30, 31, something like that. So I was late, I was a Quereinsteiger, a career changer. And I was sitting listening to the project that a customer had given us. And as I mentioned, my very first job was doing conferences for the mining engineering sector.
Yeah.
And part of that job was research. So I would call mining engineers and I'd say, hey, how are you doing mine ventilation? How are you keeping miners safe in underground mines? Like, tell me about that. And they would explain these mining ventilation systems, like very complex technical systems to me. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I had to understand the commercial aspect. So I'd be like, okay, so how does the funding work? How does the regulation work? Like how does it actually, like how do you measure this? Like all these kinds of things. And so I was asking these questions when I was in my early 20s, and then here I am in my early 30s, and suddenly I'm like, this is exactly the same stuff we have to be asking now. Like, how does this business work? How do you make money? What keeps you up at night? Like, I need to understand the client and their needs in the same way as I needed to understand how mining ventilation in a coal mine works, and to me, it doesn't actually matter what industry you're talking about, what job you're talking about. Everyone has stuff that they find hard in their role. Everyone has things that they find stressful. Everyone has systems that aren't quite working. Everyone has cultural things that are going on in their company that they either love or hate or feel somewhere in the middle about.
Yeah.
And the money is moving. And if you are someone who can understand how the money is moving and where it comes from and where it's going, like what is the business model?
Yeah.
That was the first time as a junior engineer at a consulting firm when I realized I have this ability that other junior engineers do not. Like other junior engineers are focused on
big picture for sure.
Yeah, they're focused on like writing a nice piece of code. Yeah. I'm here like, how can we make the code do something that actually helps this person's business? And I'm thinking like much bigger in that sense. The second thing I would say is a people sense. So an ability to actually talk to people and work with people. I don't mean to stereotype, but in general, I think it's fair to say that engineers tend to be more introverted than extroverted. Yeah. Again, it's a generalization. There are plenty of extroverted engineers out there.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would say that was a huge benefit for me. The fact that I had worked in several different industries already by the time I came into tech meant I was used to talking to people from all different walks of life. I was used to getting on with people from, different cultures, different languages, different backgrounds, different religions, different ethos, and it was completely normal to me. Whereas, the people I was working with who were maybe straight out of university, they were still like, I don't know, how do I submit my timesheet? Like, they were still kind of working out the basics of just being in a corporate environment. Mm-hmm. And I had done that long ago. I was way past that point. So I'd say those two skills, like that ability to understand how the money moves, or how business works, and the ability to actually talk to people and relate to people and make them feel welcome and included and respected. I think those are two skills that I poached very early on and were very useful to me immediately in tech.
Yeah, and also universally applicable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And how did you go? So I guess really basic, broken down question. How did you scratch your way up to the top with these skills?
I consider myself very lucky, firstly. Okay. So I think I was lucky, firstly, that I had some experience in marketing. Because one of the things that I did while I was learning, or I should say relearning tech, because I did do programming as a kid. This wasn't a completely new thing for me. But when I was relearning tech, as I said, in my early 30s, I was posting on Twitter. I was making YouTube videos about coding concepts. I was very active on LinkedIn quite early on. So I was really putting myself out there in a way that I think most people wouldn't naturally do.
Especially in the process of learning.
Correct.
Not when you already know everything.
Correct. I was very open about what I was learning. I was only teaching things that I myself had just learnt, and I was just kind of echoing them back. But I knew that I had a good ability to tell stories and a good ability to explain concepts. And so I was thinking like, okay, I learned it in this way. Maybe if I explain it how I think about it, it will help someone else. And still to this day, there are videos of mine on YouTube from long ago that people still comment on, especially one that was a Java tutorial. It was called Learn Java for JavaScript Developers. So it was like taking JavaScript concepts, but then saying like, okay, you already know JavaScript, so you don't need to learn programming from scratch, but here's how you can learn Java using those concepts. I still get comments on those videos being like, crazy. Wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much. This has helped me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's wild that like still to this day. And I had only just learned Java myself when I made that video. So yeah, I was very, very active in that sense. So in terms of how that helped me, claw my way to the top, as you say, I think the first thing is that helped me get noticed in the first place. So when I decided to start looking for my first engineering role, I posted on Twitter. I posted a video of myself explaining my background on Twitter. And straight away, I had like 12 people wanting to interview me.
In Germany, or where was it?
Mostly in Germany, yes.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So, but it was because I had all this proof. I'd been blogging as well. I forgot to mention that. I'd even done 1 or 2 talks by that point about learning and about like the change from opera to tech. So there was a lot of kind of, I suppose, proof that I was a strong technical thinker and that I was able to explain concepts really clearly. And luckily, as I said, I was also at the right time. This was, soon after or just as COVID was kind of happening, then ending, just kind of the 2020, 2021 period. And it was just suddenly right time, right place, right personality, I guess, with the right medium. And then I got my first junior engineering job. And actually, I then got kind of tech lead. I filled in for my boss for like a month, only 6 months into my first job.
Really?
Yeah. And then I got headhunted out of that role to work as director of product and engineering for Axel Springer. So it was very fast, but that's because they also wanted someone who could understand tech, but who could also go out and kind of be on stage and talk about the technical projects that they were working on. And so the fact that I had this stage experience meant I was very uniquely placed to be able to do this role.
Crazy.
So it was just like, again, luck. Like
not just,
but like luck is part of it. The way I always think of it is this, right? Like a door opens, but you have to be ready to walk through it. That's how I think about it. So I'm lucky that the door opened.
You also have to be...
I was ready to walk through it.
And you have to know that when the door opens. A lot of people don't recognize the opportunity in the first place.
You know what? Funnily enough, I would kind of disagree with that. I think a lot of people see a door open and then they go, oh, should I go through it? Should I not go through it? I'm not sure if I'm ready yet. I don't know if I'm, it's hard, maybe, I think a lot of people doubt themselves. And especially in Germany, I notice people really value security. Right now, I think that's actually kind of wise. But in general, I would say there's maybe a little too much risk aversion. And in my experience, and sorry to generalize, but especially amongst women in tech, tend to question themselves a lot. And I tend to say, look, if the door's opening and you like what's on the other side, walk through it. If you're not ready for it, you'll discover it. But they also might, like, let's say it's a job opportunity. There are people who don't even go for interviews because they think, oh, no, I'm not actually qualified. I'm like, let them decide that. If you're not 100%. Qualified, then you won't get the job, and no problem. You haven't lost anything except maybe a little bit of time. Yeah. Just try.
Yeah, 100%.
Try it. Like, and if you get in the job and you find that you're overwhelmed, tell them, work on it. You'd be surprised how many unqualified or underqualified people are in high positions at companies. Like, it's really, you don't have to be a genius to work as a CEO somewhere or a CTO somewhere or whatever. Like, you just have to apply yourself and take the initiative and take chances. It's really not, like, they're not some magic genius level people. Like, they're just normal people. So I always say to people, if that's what you want, just go.
Yeah.
Like, it's up to you. Like, you just got to go for it.
Hell yeah. Like, I can 100% agree with this because first, one comment I want to make about when you said women in tech. I, as a recruiter, almost always, for me personally, I always try to prioritize female, non-binary candidates over, if it's possible. Literally, if you look on LinkedIn for a XYZ developer, it's 100 men and maybe one person who isn't a man, and it's super hard. But whenever I have female candidates, same skill set, same level, 10K less.
Yeah.
Salary expectation.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. It's wild.
And then the thing is, if you go to a man and say, if you say, hey, listen, you're underselling yourself. You need for sure to go at least 5 to 10K more with your salary. Like, your company basically has been lucky to keep you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do 15.
Yeah.
If I say this to a candidate who is not a man, I get pushback. And I don't know, because if I go up inside, maybe they're going to expect certain things from me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that, because I think as myself as a woman, I have like a specific privilege to talk to other candidates who are women where I can say, like, let me level with you on this.
Yeah. You're underselling yourself. Yeah.
This is the market. These are your skills, and they're worth this much right now at this place or whatever. So that's always interesting, and I hope that changes.
For what it's worth, with the hiring of women, I've had a lot of success in hiring women when I was in engineering leadership roles. And the way that I tended to do it is I would put very transparent job ads up. So firstly, I was lucky in that most of the job ads in this case were remote, or like remote within Germany. So you had to live in Germany, but not necessarily locally, and mostly English speaking. So that was that firstly widened the net a lot.
100%.
But I would post these job ads. I would be very explicit. This is the kind of salary range we expect. These are the working conditions. This is what you'll be working on. This is what the team is like. Please apply. And we had a lot of success there. If, let's say, we got 250 applications, we might have like 30 from women, which in my mind is pretty good.
Yeah,
but we can't interview 250 people. We can't screen 250 people. So my goal was always, when I was doing the first round of like, okay, who do we want to screen first? I would try to usually choose 14 or 15 people, and I would try to make that a 50-50 split as best I could. And that meant you got the cream of the crop from both. Yeah. Like, really everyone, if you're cutting down from 250 to 15, like, you're getting very highly qualified people regardless of gender. But for me, it was a thing to make sure, okay, we're at least screening like as best of a shot as possible in the first round. I know it's different in recruiting, but like that was how it worked for us in order to improve our ratios of women to men in the workplace. So we had a lot of success that way.
That is, we often, we can put like job ads up on LinkedIn, but it has a different weight, obviously. If you're like, hey, Blinkist is looking for, then you get like, a fuck ton of applications.
Yes. Okay. And admittedly, that is a benefit. I think if you are working in a company where you can be clear about the mission as well, in my experience, just talking to women engineers and mentoring women engineers, a lot of them are more picky about the mission of the company. They don't want to, quote unquote, do evil, and that is a huge consideration for them. And as well, anyone who has any sort of care responsibilities, male or female, also, of course, they need remote or hybrid at the moment, and that's also changing a lot at the moment. So.
100%. Tell me more about your interviewing method.
The McDougall method.
The McDougall method, because we got into the screening part, so let's dive into how you interview candidates. Yeah.
Well, okay, it's also important for me to note that I'm not usually the one doing the technical interview. I'm setting up the technical interviews. But yes, I have created a technical interview method called the McDougall method. To be honest, it's kind of outdated already. I made it last year. But the idea was, at the time, so many engineering leaders that I speak to. So I talk to a lot of CTOs. I move through a lot of the leadership, the engineering leadership circles, both specifically for women and in general. And a lot of the people I was meeting were like, oh, so do you allow AI in your technical interviews? And I was like, yeah.
You mean like if
using LLMs for coding challenges?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, you're saying like, oh yeah, but like a year and a half ago,
yeah,
it was not, oh yeah. Everyone was like, that's cheating. Why would I let a candidate do that? So I created, in collaboration with 6 engineers from Hello Better, which is where I was working at the time, we created an interview method where basically the goal is that there's minimal coding. That coding is done in a pair programming setup and with any tool the candidate wants to use, with their own local setup. So they can use agents, they can use any sort of auto completion, they can use none of it, they could just use their own brain, whatever they want. There's no specification for what you have to do. And the actual time spent coding is minimal. It's actually more about afterwards reflecting on why they accepted certain changes, why they didn't, why did they make certain decisions, why didn't they? Because what I've found in my time in engineering leadership is that actual ability to write the quote unquote right code, because anyway, that's a whole other topic. But that ability to just write good code is one of the least important skills an engineer has. And what is way more important is decision-making, logic, and the ability to communicate why they made certain decisions or how they did a certain thing in a way that even non-technical people can understand, especially now with AI, especially
100%.
Now. And I'm I think I mentioned to you, but I've just been contracted to write a book on this exact topic, like what skills are important for engineers in the AI era. Yeah. Like what do they actually need to learn how to do? And this is one of the things, I'm writing it right now, so the ideas are kind of still spinning around my head. There's no nothing set in stone. But one of the things I keep coming back to is being more aware of the business and the product, being able to talk to different teams in, say, marketing, sales, finance, regulatory, like legal. These skills.
Techies are going to be pissed.
Yeah. But these skills are becoming more important, not less important. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because the technical decision-making is one part of it. But as I said earlier, you're not building tech just to build tech. Well, rarely are you building tech just to build tech. You're building tech for someone. And that someone is usually not themselves an engineer. You know, sometimes they are. Like, I mean, our products are mostly for engineers. So, it happens. But nevertheless, it's like...
I mean, when you were at Axel Springer...
Then we're building apps, video streaming platforms. I mean, most people who are watching videos on their phone on a day-to-day basis for news they don't know anything about the tech behind it. So, like, why do they care if you've used... I don't know, a switch statement or an if then, they don't care. Yeah. Like, so for me, if I'm an engineer now, I'm thinking I need to understand my business domain. I need to understand how to talk to product so they understand why I have to do it this other way that takes more time or why I can do it this faster way, for now. And I need to be able to explain to legal why this complies with GDPR,
They're 100% just going to use AI for this though, right?
They can use AI to give them the talking points, but in the end, they still need to talk to people. And in the end, that talking is going to make the difference. Because you can send an email or whatever, or a Slack message, okay, fine. But in the end, people are going to want to actually talk to you to understand it. And most people don't like to have an entire work day where they're not talking to people. I mean, most non-technical people don't want a work day of not speaking to someone. They want to actually understand what's happening. And especially if you're starting to talk about CTOs and CEOs who are sometimes reporting to boards or investors or whomever, they sometimes need to understand why a technical thing is happening in the way it is. Sometimes they're the ones being asked by auditors, like, why is your security set up this way? Why is your platform infrastructure for code set up this way? Can you explain to me who has access and why and when? And if they can't, they can be in serious trouble.
Yeah.
And so you as an engineer need to be that conduit. You need to be able to explain these things in a way that a CEO with a non-technical background can actually understand, just in case they're pulled in front of a court. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. So some of these skills are going to become more and more important. And so in the McDougall method, to kind of bring it back to your actual question, the goal here is not only to see how they work with AI, because nowadays almost every candidate will choose to use an AI tool. The goal is also to understand how they're actually thinking. Yeah, because in the end, if engineers are just code robots, we don't really need them. You know, that's the sad truth of the AI era, but they're not. And that's the thing. They're not just code robots. So what we need are good problem solvers. That's what engineers have always been great at, problem solving. But you can't just problem solve in here. You need to be able to explain.
How do you train someone? I'm sure you help people do this.
Yeah.
So how would that look if I was...
I've got a really boring, unsexy answer for you.
Oh.
It's practice.
Okay.
Yeah. It's practice. The thing is, in the end, the only way to get better at something is to practice it. And so if you are a techie who's really good at solving things up here, you need to practice, like rubber ducking, for example. You need to get the rubber duck out and explain to the rubber duck very simply what is actually happening with your code and what problem it solves.
I am the rubber duck.
Yes.
As a recruiter. I am always like... explain why, how this works to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no clue.
Exactly.
I mean...
But I use this in interviews all the time, even in behavioral interviews. I'll say to them, imagine that I'm in marketing and I want you to work on a new screen for me and I don't understand, like, what's the difference between an alert and a pop-up? Mm-hmm. Like, explain it to me.
Yeah.
No, I know nothing. I'm not technical in this scenario.
This is,
explain it to me. Or the other one that I've used for DevOps positions, for example, is, let's say I'm in product and I want something deployed, but I want it deployed in a completely different cloud than we normally use because of some feature it has. I don't know.
Yeah.
Explain to me, what is DevOps? Like, why does this impact how quickly or slowly I can get my feature? Mm-hmm. Explain it to me, because I don't know. I don't really know what the cloud is. Yeah. I don't really know what infrastructure is. I don't know what platform engineering or pipelines are. Like, explain it to me.
Yeah.
And I try to see how well they can explain these basic concepts. And that's not because I'm testing them. I'm not testing their knowledge. What I'm testing is whether they can actually break something down in a way that everyone in the business is going to be able to understand. Because when I'm hiring, and this would go for non-technical roles as well, when I'm hiring, what I'm looking for is what I call a force multiplier, who can not just be good in their own role, who can lift everyone up with them, who can make the other people in their team and in the company rise up to a new level of excellence. And I don't personally think that happens if you have techies who can't talk to the rest of the business. If you have a black box engineering department, you're not actually lifting up the rest of the company in that scenario. So I'm always looking for people who can explain things clearly, who can explain concepts in a non-technical way, who can inspire, motivate people in some way. It don't have to be extroverts, right? But they do have to be able to show that they are actually interested in something and able to explain it if someone else gets stuck. Because that's also important. If you've got a junior on the team or even another senior on the team who gets stuck on something that you're an expert in, as your manager, I expect you to be able to help that person and not just solve their problem, that's one part of it, but also help bring them to a level where if they experience that problem again, they can solve it themselves. You don't have to be, a huge personality to do that, but you do have to be able to help other people learn and be willing and able to help other people learn in that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Back to your point on when the questions that you ask in interviews, like if you're talking to a DevOps candidate.
Sure.
And related to your point about AI, we hear a lot from companies. We use in Staffo, we use, for recruiters, like we use a lot of AI. For our first stage interviews, I talked to a company 2 weeks ago. They told me, it's the head of AI. He was like, our first interviews are conducted by a bot.
Yeah.
Like,
I hate that.
And I was like, but like, what happens if the candidate says, what's your salary expectation? The candidate goes 100K, but like I would talk to the candidate and know that's his dream salary, but his real pain point is the fact that he's bullied at work or that he's completely remote, and if he gets an 80K offer with a cool team, he's going to take it, but he would be sorted out in this scenario. And to that point, I hear a lot of clients at the moment saying, well, we don't need recruiters because, and there are reasons why recruiters also fuck up and push clients away.
Yes.
But there are a lot of recruiters that really go into the technical interview or the screening process with the candidate and screen exactly for this. So they say, I am a recruiter. I have no technical knowledge in A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And I need you to explain it to me. I can look at anyone's CV, obviously, just like AI, and say like, okay, Kubernetes, OpenShift, Ansible, Terraform, check. Let's send them out. But like, a bot can also do that.
Yes.
But I know if the guy is able or the person is able to explain to me, to someone who has no technical experience, how would this work? How does this look? How much time does this take? And if I don't know like what the fuck they're talking about at the end of the day, and if they get impatient and angry that they have to explain themselves, probably not the greatest team member.
Exactly.
And this an AI cannot do because of obvious reasons. Like recruiters are also in this sense super valuable still because we take this non-technical approach to it a lot of times. I mean, I've been doing this now for a little bit. I have a master's in IT. I do know what I'm talking about, but I can also pretend that I'm just like, oh, I'm just a recruiter.
I like how that face for me was super alive, and that face was your recruiter. Yeah, okay.
But like that is a huge asset, I think, is to have someone explain this to me.
Yes.
I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
But we're both from like the arts.
Correct,
Yeah. And explaining to someone, random person at a gallery who looks at a Jackson Pollock and is like, oh, so annoying. I could do that.
I could do that in my garage, Yeah.
Didn't, but yeah.
Go ahead, mate. Go for it.
But like explaining like as a art historian, like to someone, why is this crazy actually? Why like the whole concept of it.
Yeah.
Also super, super important.
I can answer generally about the idea of using AI for recruiting.
Yes.
Because
do,
personally, I really dislike AI bots as a first step for several reasons. The most basic reason is just human decency. I think like someone is taking their time to have this call. They should have a person to talk to that is also taking the time.
Terrible look.
To really understand them. I think it is a bad look for a company. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. And if it's ever my choice and if I'm ever the one who gets to make the decision, they're not happening on my watch.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to say it like that. That said, I understand in the current market, do whatever you got to do to get a job. Like, I get it. But personally, I would never do it. Like, as a candidate either. I just think it shows a level of disrespect that I don't appreciate. So that's the number one thing. But the second thing is that I am a firm believer that a CV is one of the least useful pieces of information that you have about someone. It only helps to give you an idea of the flow of their career experience. But it doesn't tell you how motivated someone is. It doesn't tell you how smart someone is. It doesn't tell you if they're good at problem solving. It doesn't tell you if they're good with people. It doesn't tell you if they are good at managing multiple requirements. It doesn't tell you if they're good at working specifically with product. It doesn't tell you what personality type they are. It doesn't tell you how they would fit into your team. Like, there are a whole bunch of things it doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
And for me, especially as someone who has a very untraditional CV, if I were going purely off my CV, I wouldn't have gotten half of the success probably that I'm in right now. And so on the one side, obviously that's a personal thing, like that's a personal bias I have where I'm like, I personally appreciate non-traditional CVs. I appreciate non-traditional journeys to get where you are. But I've hired plenty of people who have traditional CVs. It's just that for me, I think you need to be considering the whole person. And when you're hiring into a specific team, the goal there is not to tick a certain box of skills. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The goal is to put someone in that team who is going to complement the skills of the other people in the team. And as I said earlier, is going to raise the team up in some way. Even juniors. If I'm looking at a junior and I've got a team full of seniors, they might not be raising the skill level of the team when it comes to code, but maybe they raise the energy level. Maybe they're specifically good with using agentic coding and they could maybe help the seniors learn some new ways of doing that. Maybe they're specifically passionate about user experience and I've got a team full of seniors who mostly haven't looked at that in their time. You know what I mean? Like I'm always looking for what's the gap? What's the gap in my team that would help bring them up to another level? And it is very hard to find that in a CV. You can try.
A CV is just like
it's very hard.
Google Maps.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, that's the layout.
Yeah.
Understood, but you have no clue. It's like what's
the vibe on the street?
What's like the most basic view of Google Maps is not street view, but like the not terrain.
Yeah, exactly. Satellite or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so for me, when you're using an AI to assess candidates, usually what it is a tick box exercise. And that to me, more often than not, cuts out a lot of candidates who have an extreme amount of potential.
It also shows you what the company values.
Yes.
If they just like, okay, I just need someone that costs $80,000.
Yeah.
And that has Kubernetes. Like, please. That's what it tells me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's it.
Exactly.
And I think also to what you said, IT is becoming the focus is becoming way more. It's just like branching out. It's expanding.
Yes.
And the CVs are increasingly useless. I think. And in order to it's a little difficult because in order to really screen people, you first have to look at their CV. Course, yeah. And so you have to sort of pick up on something that is like, all right, I need to meet this person that sounds pretty cool what they're doing. How do you make that work?
So usually I try to boil it down to like, what are the true non-negotiables? It's like taking your example of an 80K DevOps engineer who knows Kubernetes. I would say, okay, let's say I'm hard limited on the budget. Let's say the CFO has said, sorry, I can't give you a single cent over 80K. It has to be that. All right, fine. That's one of my non-negotiables.
Yeah. Okay.
It just is what it is. Sad but true. And let's say they have to have some experience in Kubernetes. Okay. I would be going to the team, and this is what I've done in previous positions, and I would say, when you say has some experience in Kubernetes, what do you specifically mean? Like, what does this experience look like? And don't give me years, because years don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Tell me what you need them to be able to do with Kubernetes. Do they need to just be able to, like, I don't know, run a Kubernetes command in the terminal? Or do they actually need to have experience, like, managing a whole bunch of different pods or whatever? I don't know. I need to know exactly what you're expecting. And I go from there. And this is why I also encourage candidates when they're writing their CVs to talk about what they actually achieved in their roles and not what the tasks were.
Yes.
Because if I'm told, no, I need someone who has really done like mostly Kubernetes in their day-to-day job, they are helping other engineers learn Kubernetes, they are like running an entire company's platform with Kubernetes, like this is the experience I need, then I go, okay. But then if I see a CV that just says Kubernetes, I'm probably not selecting that person because I don't know what that means. Like I ran a few Kubernetes commands and I would definitely not be qualified for that position.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's just like there's a difference. And I really think as a leader and as someone who's then wanting to put the right people in the job, not just for me and not just for them and not just for their team, but for the business as a whole, I'm thinking, how do I get those core things ticked off? And that's what I look for in the CV. But after that, it's kind of like, what do we need that's not written down? And that's what I'm screening for. That's what I'm screening for in the first chat.
This podcast, Root Access, was made possible by Fortech Consulting. We're an award-winning tech recruitment firm with deep expertise in SAP, cloud, AI, and executive search, delivering both permanent and freelance talent solutions with unmatched efficiency. At Fortech, we continuously deepen our understanding of technologies behind the roles that we fill and the people behind them. We don't just match tech stacks, we align expertise, mindset, and culture. Because recruitment is more than just a transaction. It's a responsibility to those who trust us. Do you think that you're generally really good at asking questions?
Yes.
I just want to, yeah. Quick side note.
Yeah.
Because you were just talking, and I was thinking, like, that's such a great way to ask that. I feel like speed is I mean, we've known each other for like 5 minutes, but
sure.
I think probably speed is like what really adds a shit ton of value to you because you understand like the exact right questions to ask. Meaning, for example, if we take the Kubernetes thing, a lot of companies say, I need a Kubernetes engineer. And then the recruiter goes, yeah, and then they run out and find someone in LinkedIn, there's Kubernetes, and then they send the person out, and then they get a rejection. They're like, oh, why?
Yeah.
And then come to find out, the company needs someone certified in Kubernetes because otherwise they can't put them on a project because the person has to have a certification, or they have Kubernetes experience but only in relationship with AWS cloud.
Right.
They need someone who can build something completely from scratch, completely without a cloud. And because these questions weren't asked, we have now lost 4 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when you explain to me how you go about, first you go ask questions before you just go out and search. You figure out what the non-negotiables are.
Yeah.
And you don't guess about them because you're maybe afraid of asking.
But also this is when we get into the thing that I was saying before about putting job ads up on LinkedIn and being super transparent. Like, this is how I can do it, right?
Yeah.
Because I actually go and I ask, what are the real requirements?
Yeah.
Like, like not requirements, but actual requirements.
Yeah.
And then I put them and I say requirements, and I'll put in brackets like 100% non-negotiable. And then I'll say, I don't know, whatever, fluent business English, or fluent English, maybe not even business English if it's technical, 80K maximum salary, Kubernetes certification, experience with, running Kubernetes on an AWS environment, ideally in an enterprise setup. But that ideally is also like in brackets kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I would say like ideal, and then I would list out maybe a few other things, like 2 or 3 things, like, oh, maybe B1 German, because sometimes we work with German companies or German clients, and then maybe some experience with Terraform, let's say, or something along those lines. And then I'd put that kind of as there, but it's clear, this is great if you have this, it's not what I'm screening for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. For me, it's, again, I'm very holistic when I'm hiring. I really don't see engineers as little code robots. I really think that teams, and this is also why I don't agree, by the way, that middle management is going to die. There's a lot of think pieces at the moment like, oh, middle management's becoming useless. I'm like, oh, I've heard this one before. Like, it's an old song.
Yeah.
Sure, fine. But I don't believe it. And the reason I don't believe it is this, that when people are treated just as little productive little robots, and you're not looking at the whole picture of how they're working together and how they work together to achieve a goal, you are not actually going to get the business results that you want. You're not multiplying your money. Like, if we just look at it like an investment of some kind, right? Like, you're just investing in individuals, okay, and you get individual results out, input, output, boring, right? But if you're actually paying attention to how those people work together, how they lift each other up, how they train each other, how they improve each other, how much they're engaging with the business, you can actually have your input, let me get that the right way around. You can have your output multiplied by factors of 2 to 3. you know, by having those people work together in a productive way. And this is why I balk when people call management a soft skill or people skills a soft skill. I'm like, excuse me, if you can do this well, if you can work out how a team works together, how to balance skills and personalities and actually have them all be excited about what they're building, and you can create that momentum, I'm making you cold hard cash.
Yes.
Like, this is not like just me feeling like lovey-dovey, let's all get along.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually going to be making serious money for your business.
Yeah.
And I don't think middle management is dying, put it that way.
Yeah.
I think if you've got good middle management, they will make you far more money than you're spending on them. Far more.
Yeah.
If they're good.
And they're focused. Yeah, exactly. If they're good. Yeah. And they have to be focused on the right things. And also, if this is a company that thinks that they're dying out, this is probably, to be honest, probably a company that isn't looking at it right in the first place, you know?
Yeah, but the other thing is that it's also about who, as we say, who is in that middle management position. Because so many people just think, oh, like, here's the most senior technical person, I guess I'll make them the engineering manager now.
Yeah.
And
see it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And I've mentored people like this and you know, some of them really want to make it work. And when they really want to make it work, they can. I absolutely believe anyone can learn any skill they want to if they really dedicate themselves to it and practice and are willing to make mistakes along the way. Great, no problems. But most of the time, these people are promoted because they're a known entity, they're cheap. Yeah, the company knows they can maybe just bump their salary a little bit and they'll take it. And they are usually not particularly suited to management and they don't necessarily want it.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I've never seen it work. They go back within a year.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 if you're lucky. But even then, you're not getting this multiplication effect that I'm talking about. Yeah. Because
then you're losing a couple years.
Yeah, because really what you're doing is you're paying someone to be an expensive IC.
Yeah.
You know, they're not actually doing the job of lifting up the team in the way that you need or making them work together in the way that you need.
Oh, you see this all of the time.
All the time.
In recruitment also, because if you're billing the most, if you make the most deals, make the most income for the company, you get promoted. And a lot of companies have their management tracks set up. Whoever can bill the most gets the job. And if you want to be a manager, that can go really fucking wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, recruitment's already a hard job. And then you have a manager that's like, with sales skills, I think, unfortunately, still a lot of the time, sales skills and people skills can be very different.
That's true.
It can be the same, and then it can go really well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it depends on the type of salesperson. I mean, the other thing is people management itself is a skill.
Yeah.
Like, getting along with people, like being able to talk and communicate and, like, you know, get buddy-buddy with people, that is a skill. Like, there's definitely skill to that. But it is related to management, but it's not management.
Exactly.
So it helps you in some respects. So normally those people who are very good at that side of things are good at making people feel included. They may be good at making people feel like they're all friends and they're all getting along well. But
safe
that's
space.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes, I don't know, but definitely working towards a common goal.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're often not as good at, for example, actually managing things that go wrong with someone or building a team, because building a team is its own skill. Dealing with conflict, dealing with new hires. They're not necessarily good at hiring. You know, they might be able to have a good conversation with someone, but that's about it. You know, they're not necessarily aware of team dynamics. I don't know. There are a bunch of things that don't necessarily click in that environment. I will say that in sales, you're more likely to get a good manager out of a good performer than you are in engineering. Like, it's a generalization, but it's because of that ability to have people skills in general as being part of the base skill requirement of being in sales is you kind of have to be able to get along with people. So that already kind of gives you a little leg up in management. But it doesn't mean that you're a kind person either. A strong performer is not always a kind person. They're not always someone who has a lot of empathy. That also happens, unfortunately. And you need that skill as a manager, empathy. I would also say that for management, one of the things that I'm always surprised by is that engineers specifically find it to be like very scary. They seem to be really scared of management and managers in general. And this kind of goes back to this idea of like that it's some other tier of person, like that there's some other level that they have to operate on. And it's like, no, they're just new skills. Like it's really not anything scary. It's just about, as with any skill building, looking at yourself critically, saying, where are the gaps that I have? Where are my strengths? You lean into the strengths for the most part, and then you kind of quietly chip away at the gaps. And then you just practice, and it happens.
Do you write a lot? Journal?
No.
Like, how did you figure all this out? Like, how did you figure out what you were really good at?
I don't know. I just think about it, and then
Okay.
sometimes people tell me.
Okay, nice.
I mean, I have a CTO coach that I work with, Joel Chippendale.
Cool.
He's really cool. He is really good at asking questions that kind of make you think about what's important to you. So for me, he was very much like, okay, like when I was thinking about moving into a new role, he was like, okay, like what kind of size company would you want? Like what kind of responsibilities would you want to have? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was just thinking about like a new role, and I had to like really critically evaluate what are my skills, where would that fit, where do I want to go long term. So I think it helps to have someone who can kind of
almost every leader I've talked to thus far has had some type of mentor.
Yeah,
that's super crucial.
Yeah.
And one question I wanted to ask is you. You think about how to phrase it. It is hard in Germany.
Yes.
That was
the end.
It's hard in Germany to become what they call a Quereinsteiger. Going in the U.S., you can just fucking do it. Like
that's
you can't become a doctor, but like if you're like, hey,
sure.
I want to change everything today, and I work really hard, and you can prove that someone's gonna give you a chance at a low enough opportunity to work your way up.
Sure.
In Germany, you can forget it.
No,
like
certificate needed.
You need an Ausbildung, you need a certificate. So I studied IT like a lifetime ago, 2016, and
You've forgotten everything.
I've forgotten everything. Yeah, correct. And everything has also become irrelevant. Almost everything.
Yes, that's fair.
And I did that because, as you know, in the U.S., college is very expensive.
Correct.
In Australia.
Nope.
No?
I mean, yeah, but they've got government programs to help cover it, so
that you don't have to like pay back with 8% interest.
No, you only pay back when you're earning a certain amount. Then it comes out of kind of like tax. It comes out of your paycheck.
Ah, okay.
Kind of like at a certain percentage, and the interest on it is only CPI, so it only goes up as much as the value of the currency goes up.
Oh.
Yeah, it's effectively a 0% interest loan from the government.
Yeah. The greatest country on earth, U.S.
Yeah. As we all know.
As we clearly now are very aware of since like 8 years.
Yes, of course.
So I started studying IT because I had so many student loans from my first degree. And I was like, well, forbearance is an option. And I can just push my loans off because I had just moved to Germany.
I don't know what forbearance is.
It means like, I'm still studying, leave me alone, don't ask me for money.
I see, okay.
I was like, I need to study something that I could make money in because my first degree was in fine arts.
Right. I'm so sorry.
And so then I got a master's in IT. I was like, perfect, I'm going to make money. And then I got into the master's. I was like, this is the most boring thing I have ever done in my, like, I cannot. And I was like, but I have to.
I'm here now.
I have to do it. So I got my master's. It was terrible. I ended up doing it. My thesis was insane. Like I did my thesis on like digital art history. It was super interesting. I really liked it, but had no like weight in any capacity. Yeah. And then anyway, I pushed off my loans. They accrued interest, which was cool. And then I ended up studying a master's in fine arts in Hamburg. So I went back. Anyway, long story short, I was a carpenter for a long time. And obviously...
Speaking of
logical next step. Yeah, stereotypes. But anyway, so I became a carpenter, and then I was like, I had an injury.
Oh.
I worked in the art scene for a long time, like restoration and stuff.
Okay, cool.
I had a shoulder injury, had to get surgery, and then my orthopedist was like, you can't do this anymore. You have to pick a desk job. And then I was like, fuck, okay. I guess IT, but no, I hate IT. But I like talking to people.
Yeah.
And for example, one of my old colleagues at the carpentry shop, he was originally from Syria. His dad owned a carpentry shop, and he was literally a carpenter since he was 11.
Yeah.
He had...
I think I see where this is going.
7 fingers.
Right.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in Germany, he could work where we worked, which was like in the art scene, because a lot of, like, he had to get his like machine certificates in order to operate the machines, but like he couldn't work at like an official carpentry Werkstatt, which is insane. And like in IT, you know how many people I have to reject because they have worked in IT for 20 years or 15 years, but they did not go, or
they don't have a master's or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Or they have one, but not in like...
Yeah, like me. Masters of music.
And you have this background as well, but you made it up to such a high level. Like, that is such a small slice of... That's such a tiny little miniature window of opportunity that I feel like you managed. Like, how does that work?
So I experienced this, to answer your question about Germany. I experienced this firsthand. As I said, I did programming as a kid. Like I made my first website when I was 8. This was 1995. Like people barely had access to the internet, you know? Like it was
like
very
you're not
uncommon.
completely new at all. But
No. And I did software design at high school. I won a school award for it. I taught my class HTML at high school because my teacher didn't know it, because teachers didn't actually know what they were teaching at that stage.
You have always been Leslie Knope.
Please don't make me blush. Yeah, you know, I've always been an overachiever. That's true. But I've always been into tech, and I've been doing this stuff like for a long time. So when I came back to it and I started learning JavaScript, as I said, I think I was around 30, and it was like a homecoming. Like this all worked for my brain. I'd learned Visual Basic in high school, which is also a more, I suppose, primitive style of programming, but nevertheless some of similar structures. And for me, I was like, oh wow, this is how I think. Like the way JavaScript is made, programming languages are done. That's actually how I process information and how I solve problems myself. I break things down, and then I break them down, I break them down until it's like all the building blocks kind of fall into place like a Lego set. And so for me, I was like, wow, this works for my brain. And I just absolutely learnt so much. In about 3 months, I was probably at the stage where a normal junior engineer would be after 2 years. Like I'm again lucky. I found my thing. I'm very lucky. It doesn't come naturally to everyone. It came naturally to me. It's like my husband with music. Music never came naturally to me. I had to struggle to learn that.
Okay.
Really struggle.
Yeah.
I was crying in multiple classrooms. Like it was not naturally my thing at all. But my husband is a natural musician. For him, it's like breathing, easy. And I'm just lucky that I finally found my thing, which was programming. And so for me, I was doing this and I was like, wow, this is great. I'm really good at this. I'm building stuff up. It's good. So I started thinking, okay, maybe I don't need to go to university to do this. Maybe I don't need to like do some course. Maybe I'm good. Like maybe I can just get hired like this. So I started talking to a few recruiters. I reached out and just like had some chats to people and said like, this is what's going on. Like, this is where I'm at. And they were like, listen, it sounds like that's great, but until we know that you can actually work with people and you've actually got a piece of paper that shows us you can do this thing, the chances of you actually being able to get hired are extremely low. And they were really honest with me, and I appreciated it. And also because like I'm just some random person being like, can you give me advice? And they were very happy to do that. So I really appreciate that, the helpfulness that I got in that respect. But of course it was also disappointing. So I then did what they call a Weiterbildung. So I did a 1-year certified course. So it was basically Monday to Thursday, 9 to 5 for 1 full year. And straight away I'm in the first class and they're talking about variables and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a long year. But what started happening, and this is where I'm again talking about force multiplication, I was like, well, if I already know this stuff, I might as well help the other people learn. Mm-hmm. So I started helping the other students to learn. I had to be there, right? I had to be there a certain number of days. Like, it's like I couldn't be anywhere else. So I was there. I was helping other people learn. I was doing the exercises myself in like 2 minutes, and then I'd hop over onto someone else's computer and I'd help explain the concepts again to them so that they could do it right. And then eventually the people who were providing me the course actually started paying me to be a class tutor.
Really?
So I actually got my first, officially speaking, I guess, my first tech job was actually tutoring other career changers who were learning tech themselves. And I'm really proud that our class, 10 out of 10 people got hired as junior engineers when that finished as well. And I like to take a little bit of credit for that because, I feel like they all helped each other too. Like, it wasn't just me. Like, we all really helped each other to get to the level we needed to be at. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I definitely didn't need to be in that course, is my point. Yeah. Like, in Australia, I wouldn't have had to be in that course. Someone would have just been like, oh, show me how you code this thing.
Exactly.
And I would have been like, blah, 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 blah.
And you save like a year of your life.
Yes. Yeah. And admittedly, like, it was a great experience in the end. Like, I really enjoyed meeting those people. Some of them are still friends today. And that part is great. At the same time, it's just the slog that you have to go through.
It's the slog. Yeah.
And I think it's also the lack of understanding that maybe not following a traditional path is an advantage and not a disadvantage. And again, I believe in filling gaps in a team. I'm not sure that a team that was fully made of career changers would necessarily be the best either, but I don't think that having a team full of people who all follow the traditional path is a good idea. I think you need a bunch of
you need variety for sure.
Yes, exactly. And that can come in many different forms, but I think that what I've noticed about career changes is that they bring a real energy, and usually insight. And I always encourage career changers who come to me and ask for advice. I say, look at tech jobs in the industry you were in before. Because if, for example, you're in, you were a builder, let's say, and you decide to learn to code. Okay, there are heaps of building companies out there doing heaps of software development internally.
That would die to have someone
who actually understands what's happening on a building site, who's building up software. That's an extremely valuable,
except for in fine arts, probably.
I'm sure that there is some museums and art galleries that need something somewhere. But even then, media would be an angle on that, media, video production, maybe. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is out there. And I think a lot of people underestimate the breadth of technology that exists and how they can be useful. And most people, when they're just changing into the career, of course, they have a very narrow understanding of what tech is. They're usually thinking websites and apps. Mm-hmm. They're not necessarily thinking, okay, how is a building site how is a builder or construction company planning out their building site and knowing what stage, what piece of wood goes where and when do we pour the concrete and how long do we mix the concrete for and, all this kind of stuff. There is software out there, I'm guessing, I don't actually know, but I'm guessing there's software out there that's doing all these calculations and planning everything out from them from zero to completely finished. Yeah.
And then you go essentially from being, I'm a techie, I'm new, I'm looking for a job, I have no experience or I have a bit of experience, to then moving into I am super niche.
Yes.
And I bring something to the table that 1% of other applicants bring to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't worked with Java or Node.js or whatever for 10 years, but I can tell you how everything works here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a benefit.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a team that doesn't have that skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm getting at is it's hard in Germany, I would say, but it's slightly easier if you can bring domain expertise. Mm-hmm. Slightly easier. But you still usually got to get the piece of paper, unfortunately, here, I would say. Yeah. And I would say recruiters, they fall one of two ways. they're either just like, no, that does not fit the requirements, or sorry to do a bad German accent, but I'm really not good at it. I've lived here for 10 years. I keep trying, and I just can't quite nail it. But anyway, or they're like, oh wow, that's really interesting, huh? Yeah, maybe I could put you forward. I wonder what
These
they
are the
say
people
about
with
you.
connections, though.
Yeah.
These are the people with connections.
Yeah.
Because the people who have no connections in their market, they just need the key metrics. They need the key points. They just push CVs, push
Right.
CVs. But there was, for example, I work with a company. I had a guy who needed a machine learning engineer,
Right.
but he needed GCP experience.
Okay.
He said. I found a guy, no GCP experience, but like was a blast to talk to, and not just like hilarious or whatever, but like you could tell. Give this guy 6 months.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But the investment you're making in him, he's going to make everyone feel great on the team. He's going to work his ass off. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you have to promise me. I told him, I was like, if you don't look at his CV, I will not look for anyone else for you ever again. And he's like, all right, send him. Because he's a details guy. Like, does he have this, and this?
Yeah.
And it was a consultancy. So it's like, well, if he doesn't have this certification, I can't get him into a project. I was like, I promise you, he will be on all of your projects in 2 years, and he'll probably be leading them.
Yeah.
That it calls me, yeah, he was pretty good. And like these are the people that can sell like little tooting my own horn here, but like these recruiters are the ones that you need to talk to, because otherwise the other recruiters, they're the reasons why everyone hates us. I'm sorry to say it, but like these are people like, well, sorry, but you don't have this and that, so oh, let me get back to you on that, and then you never hear from them again.
Of course, yeah. I know it's funny, but I feel like those recruiters who are more focused on relationship building, they are so good. Like I've got a few now who have become like actual friends of mine who I like meet up with still. I get coffee with them. I'm not looking for a job. They're not looking to hire me. We just like hanging out because it's like, who knows? Like whoever knows if it's going to be useful? Probably not. And honestly, like the chances are we are not ever going to need each other. But nevertheless, it's just nice to build that relationship.
Yeah.
They get a better understanding of the industry. I get a better understanding of how they work. Like we have a nice time. Like in the end, everyone wins. Even if we're not directly working with each other.
You get something out of it, for sure.
And the other thing is that they are then, as you say, better at spotting those candidates that might not tick the boxes, but are going to bring that, as I say, je ne sais quoi, you know, that they need. And it reminds me of a video I saw. It was like, I think it was a little like viral video on LinkedIn, but it was about the US Navy SEALs. Mm-hmm. And it was saying that the way that they choose like who gets to be in the elite of the elite, and it has basically a simple XY matrix, and one is trust and one is performance. And they said, obviously, everyone wants someone who is high performance and high trust.
Yeah.
Everyone trusts, everyone, you'd loan them money, you'd leave them alone with your partner for a few nights and not worry. But they're also high performance. Obviously those are the people that everyone wants. Great performers, also great on a team. Awesome. Yeah. But actually, apparently, the Navy SEALs will prefer someone who is medium performance, maybe even low performance, but high trust. Yeah. Because they know that the team needs to be able to rely on each other. And, we have this this brilliant jerk stereotype in software engineering, these people who are like brilliant with the code, but no one wants to work with them. And in my opinion, they are always a liability. You 100%. don't want this person anywhere near.
People leave. Yeah. Other people leave. You lose the other people.
You get turnover, and usually what they're doing, okay, maybe they're doing it fast, but it's usually not like anything spectacular. Like, I'm sorry to say, but there really aren't that many people who can do something wildly different with code that no one else can do. Yeah. Right? It's just a matter of like time and training.
Those days are
and I hope. Yeah, I hope. But, I think it's just, you need people who are high trust.
Yeah, you have to have people who are high trust, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. So one last thing I'd like to touch on before we close. What were the top things that you've poached throughout your career? The highest value. If you had to boil it down to 3 things, let's say.
Okay. Public speaking. So the ability to stand on a stage, not be freaked out. Admittedly, in opera, I'm not doing much speaking. I'm singing lines that are given to me by
more
someone
nerve-wracking
else
to sing or to speak?
to sing, and that goes back to me. Like for some other people, it would be the complete opposite.
Okay.
But for me, singing, as said, music was not something that came naturally to me. So for me, I was always super paranoid that I was singing something wrong. It was fun being on stage. I liked getting all dressed up in these weird outfits. They're mostly just weird now, by the way. They're not like cool, like old fashioned, like, these beautiful dresses, or like they're always weird, messed up stuff.
Yeah.
So I like that, like like doing all this weird stuff on stage and working with my colleagues. It was really fun. But at the same time, I found it more nerve-wracking having to okay, you have to be on this beat, you have to be in that spot, and you have to sing in this, it can't be in A, it's got to be in air, it can't be in R, it's got to be in air, everything is so precise.
Meanwhile, I'm in the audience, I'm just like...
Yeah, right? But we know, and the conductor knows, and the vocal coaches know, and the language coaches know, and the assistant director knows, everyone who's watching you and the real fans, the real opera fans, they know even. So it can be quite nerve-wracking. They call opera the Olympic sport of singing, and it's that kind of level of dedication that you really need to be good at it. And so I would say that is more nerve-wracking for me. Also, again, because in opera, you're singing someone else's words, you're doing what someone else wants, you're standing where they want you to stand, you're not necessarily doing what you want. On a stage, I'm talking, the ideas are coming from here, I know them. They're my ideas, I just need to explain them to people. And so for me, I don't find that particularly scary. I'll get nerves like anyone else, but I'm not usually freaking out.
It's the memorization and
Yeah, the memorization and the specificity of opera. If I'm on stage, giving a talk about, I don't know, agentic security, which is one of my big things right now, and I use the wrong word in a sentence. For example, this is a mistake I make all the time. It's true. At HashiCorp, we have this thing we call it security lifecycle management, right? And it's about talking about how we manage security from day 0, setting up a project, to day 1, having the project up and running, to day N, which is when you stop a project. So it's the life cycle of a project, right? And all the time, and I promise you I do this multiple times in a week, I say security lifestyle management.
Amazing.
I say it all the time. And I'm just security lifestyle, security life cycle management. And I say it all the time. And I've just kind of learnt to roll with it. But the fact is, I say it, usually gets a few laughs.
Yeah.
We kind of move on.
Yeah.
No big problem. If I say the wrong word in an opera...
Fired.
Maybe not fired, but everyone will be like, what was that about?
Shot on stage.
Come on. Okay. Yes, well, we'll have to talk about that tomorrow,
Oh, God.
So for me, I think there's just a lot more leeway, and I can be myself. I'm not playing a character. I just need to get up there and be me, and that's easy for me.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's the number 1 skill. There was a very long way of explaining my first skill, but there it is. There's the first one, is public speaking. It has been useful to me from junior engineer right through to Field CTO. There's not a single role I've been in where it hasn't come in handy in some way, shape, or form.
One side question to that. I also, because I personally struggle with this all the time, is that when you have to speak in German, obviously at the beginning it was hell for us because we did not speak the language, but it is always, and I'm very fluent in German, it's still not my native language.
Sure.
How do you...
Do
you have to practice? Okay, nice.
I
mostly don't.
To be honest, if I know that the room understands English, I will usually ask permission to speak in English. So I will usually say, normally we'll be talking in German, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll say, hey, if it's okay with you all, I'd like to present these slides in English. The slides are in English. English is my native language. they're
And they're
normally fine with it.
mostly,
They go, yeah, that's fine. And then if they have questions, they ask in German, I respond in German. You know, because I'm much better at speaking casual day-to-day German than I am presenting with formal language.
Exactly.
And I will just present ideas more cleanly in English than I will in German. In German, I'll be searching for the right word, and in English, it'll just come out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I usually do that. If I have to present in German, I can. It's just not as good, you know? And it's kind of like, well, you know I'm Australian, you know I'm...
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I can do it, but, you know, it's not going to be as good.
Okay.
So that's just kind of like a practical reality, I suppose.
Okay. And so public speaking, what would be your other two?
I think... You kind of alluded to it earlier. It's the ability to ask the right questions and not be afraid to ask the right questions. So again, I take this mostly from my very first job out of uni, but I've really carried it through. Whenever I start somewhere new, I take advantage of that, and I'm asking all the questions. Why do we do things this way? Why do we call it that? I've never heard that word before. Why are we using that terminology? Why does this slide have so many words on it? Like why why are we structured in this way? How does this part work? Like how is the money coming in? How's the money going out? Like what made you decide? Like, and then I talk one-on-one to people a lot as well. And you know, I set up a lot of one-on-one chats, especially in the early stages of joining a company, but even afterwards, I like to stay in touch with people. And I'm always like, why did you choose this role? Why do you stay here? Like, what is it that makes you stay? Why haven't you left yet? Like, what's your long-term goal here? Like, what about the job frustrates you? What are you passionate about in it? You know, I think being able to understand not just the big picture of like how the business is working, but how it's set up and how individuals in that team see their role, that tells you a lot about how the company is working as a whole, and that allows you to then be able to move more deftly through that bureaucracy that exists in every company, through the politics that exist in every company. It doesn't matter how small or big. It gives you that ability to actually understand how power moves, how decisions are made. And I think that helps me also just with managing people. So any position where I've had to manage teams, I truly want to understand what drives my engineers, for example. Like, why are they in this job? Like,
what happens if they say nothing?
They don't.
Okay, nice.
Because I sit there and I ask the question and I stare at them, and then eventually they...
No. What happens if their answer is...
Oh, the answer
nothing
is nothing.
Really, I don't know, it's just a job.
Yeah, well, normally then I'll say, okay, so what is it, the money? You know...
Yeah, why are you here?
Yeah, like you're here for a reason, right? Like it's 40 hours of your week. Like, why are you spending 40 hours with me? Like, why are we here right now? And sometimes it is just money. And some of them have said that to me directly. They've said like, yeah, for me, it's all about money. I don't really care about tech. I'm not passionate about coding. You know, I don't really care what the product is as long as I'm making the most money I can. And then I go, all right, fair enough. I've had two engineers have that conversation with me. And then I know exactly what's driving them. And you know, it's fine.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't judge it. You know, it is what it is. And for some people, it's ambition. You know, they want to get to a certain point. For some people, they want to feel useful. For some people, and I include myself in this, they want to have the feeling that they're positively influencing something, be it a product, a business, or in my case, all of tech. Maybe I'm a little bit too ambitious there, but like the reason I moved into security and why I'm so passionate now about agentic security is because I think like we as an industry are being very relaxed right now about what's happening with our use of agents in production code and also with like customer facing features. And there's a lot of danger zone happening right now. And Mythos or Fable or ChatGPT 5.5, whatever, they're going to start exploiting those really soon. And there's going to be a lot of things going wrong. Like my prediction, next 6 to 12 months, there's going to be a lot of breaches. Yep, it's a prediction.
I use Fable.
Yeah, fine. But like and people are going to start using Fable to exploit things is what I'm saying. Like these hacking attempts are going to go
oh God.
Bing, 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 bing. And for me, I'm thinking like, I don't want my data being breached. I don't want my bank being breached and having like my money disappear overnight. I don't want, you know, all my photos to be deleted suddenly. Yeah. Let's say if, I don't know, Dropbox or something got hacked. I mean, all of this stuff, I don't want it happening to me. I don't want it happening to anyone else. So I see it as part of my personal mission, being in the position I'm in, to help companies, to help tech as a whole to grow up in how they're using AI. Yeah, use AI. Take advantage of it. Like, make it fast, make it performant, awesome. But you have to be able to apply the brakes. Yeah, like any fast car, you need to have great freaking brakes.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
and you have to be ready to pull them.
Yeah,
and that's what I really want to help people with. Firstly, to not be breached in the first place, and then secondly, to be able to slam on the brakes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. We're in a car for some reason. I guess that's the handbrake.
That's the
handbrake.
brake,
yeah, there you go. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not good with cars, but my metaphor holds. But that's the idea, right? So for some people, that's what it's going to be. And the way that I get this information out of them is by asking the right questions and diving deep and giving them space to answer. So that's 2. The third, I would say, I don't know if this is really something I've poached, but I suppose technically it is. It would be my ability to understand technical topics. I don't know where that comes from. It could come from my childhood. It could come from just my brain being the way it is. I don't know if I've poached it from any specific location, but it's more just something I've built up that I can understand any technical topic very, very quickly. I always say I need an engineer who knows the topic and 1 hour with a whiteboard.
Okay.
I can learn almost anything.
Okay.
But I'm broad, right? Some people go broad, some people go deep. I'm a broad person. I can understand almost any aspect of tech more than most executives probably can because of my background, but because that's just how my brain works. But if you want someone to go into the technical nitty-gritty, that's not me. But my ability to quickly pick up and comprehend what is happening technically, I think is one of my big strengths that I've pulled from multiple spots, I suppose, over the years. Okay. But again, that's by talking to people, right? Like when I was an engineer, when I was a junior engineer, I was talking to DevOps engineers. I was talking to back-end engineers, front-end engineers. I was talking to people in sales. You know, I was purposefully branching out and trying to understand as many different things as possible. Yeah. And it has the benefit of breaking down silos and breaking down walls in a company so that everyone's talking to everyone, which I think is always beneficial to some extent. But also it helped me personally learn how to quickly pick up information from people and understand it and
absorb
it back.
Yeah. Digest it, organize it.
Yeah. And I always echo it back. Always. It's one of my key learning skills. If someone explains something to me and I think I've understood, I say, okay, let me explain it back to you and you tell me if I've understood it correctly. And then I try to say back to them what they've just said to me. And then they'll say, yeah, that's it, exactly. Or they'll say, not quite. It's a little bit more like this. Or they'll say, no, that's
because maybe
wrong.
They've also not explained it
correctly.
100%
exactly.
correctly. Yeah,
and most people just smile and nod along, go, hey, yeah, great. Yeah, I've got it. But no, the key part is echoing it back. Because if you can't explain it back, then you can't explain it to your, like I said, to your CEO, to your CTO, to other engineers, to whomever. You need to be able to explain the thing back. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say those are my 3 big ones.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would say, also like the one of the main themes I get from you in terms of your go-getter mentality, not being afraid to ask questions, not being afraid to be like...
I'm very risk-friendly.
Risk-friendly, yeah. And
I think is that the opposite of risk-averse?
Risk, yeah.
Risk... Open to risk.
Open to risk.
I don't know what the correct terminology is, but yeah.
Open to risk sounds definitely like a tender status. But yeah, like this lack of fear.
Yes.
And this confidence is something I feel like that is definitely, I don't know, we don't know each other that well, but it sounds like you had a really safe childhood where you were able to really just like
yes.
If you mess up, who cares? Try something new.
I think my dad had heaps of different jobs throughout his life. And so I think that was kind of like one thing, like I saw him move between these different jobs that he had. Like, you know, he was an artist, he was a photographer, he was an economics teacher. He ran a small business for a while doing hikes in the mountains.
Oh, cool.
You know, now he's officially speaking retired, but he still writes books and does artwork and photography. So I think that helped a lot. My mum was an academic, so I think that helped me kind of like learn to question everything. So she was really instrumental in that. But I do agree with you. I remember once I was doing a show in Prague, and I was like giving a pep talk to one of the other singers who was having a bit of a personal crisis on something. And immediately afterwards, and it was, it was standard advice, like, oh, you got to go for it, forget what's happening there, like, go for what you want, like, focus on what you need, blah, blah, blah. And I remember immediately after that, another singer came up to me and she just says, Anna, you are the fiercest person I know. And I was like,
hell yeah.
I was like, I think that's the best compliment I've ever received.
Yes.
And so I think back about that. I stored that in my little like treasure box in my brain. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to pull that out whenever I'm feeling bad about myself. Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, I think I'm tenacious and like, I'm not here to toot my own horn, but I tend to think like usually we think the outcome of something, the worst possible outcome of something is way worse than it really is. Like,
and also way more likely than it really is.
Yeah. Most of the time, if you fail, people are like, oh, that kind of sucks. And then they move on with their lives.
They don't really care.
And you can move on with your life.
Yeah.
Like, really. Yeah. And
it's not that deep.
Exactly.
As the kids say.
Like, people don't care that much about you. And I know that's maybe a bit harsh, but like, I think everyone thinks everyone's watching them all the time. And it's like, most people aren't. Yeah. And I say that as someone who is being watched a lot of the time. Yeah. And I'm still just like,
people are
like,
more worried about their own shit.
Absolutely. They've got better things to worry about than what you're doing. Yeah. Like, just focus on yourself. Don't worry as much about like what other people are thinking or doing or whatever. And if some people hate you, fine. Yeah. Some people hate me, it's fine. We just don't interact. We're good. You know?
100%.
It's like there's way too much going on to worry about that.
There's too much weight on it, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all about like moving in the direction you want to move in, not being an asshole along the way. That's kind of core for me. But at the same time, it's like I think people are just a bit too scared in general, and it's just not part of my personality. I guess. Maybe I'm not scared enough. Who knows? Maybe I've gone too far the other direction. I don't know.
I think you would have probably realized by now.
We'll find out.
If I see you in 3 months, like as a head neurosurgeon somewhere, I'll be like, all right,
pump the brakes.
Yeah, the brakes. Yeah. Well, thanks for being on the show. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode of Root Access, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If something resonated with you, share it with someone building their path in tech. And if you want more conversations about leadership in IT, subscribe, follow, and stay connected. See you in the next episode.